Hey everybody, I'm Mary and I'm back again to do some audio narration for you for some favorite books that I use inside my business with my coaching clients. I'm a librarian by trade and I figured I would put my superhero powers of reading to good use and help you connect with the soul of all of these different books so that you can decide if it's a book that you want to spend time on inside your business or if you just want to get a really, really great nugget of learning that you can carry forward with you and get on with your day and start building all those amazing offers and working with all those amazing clients. My goal is to continue to practice narration because I'm getting back into it for clients, reading their ebooks. This way you can enjoy the sound of my voice, which is the thing I hear most requested from so many people in all the communities that I've helped run and build over the last few years. So today, we are going to work with a book that I worked heavily with last year with my audience. It's Bittersweet by Susan Cain. Yes, it was one of the Oprah Book Club picks. Don't let that dissuade you from reading this book. This book is amazing. Susan Cain actually is an author I recommend quite frequently. She's the author of another book called Quiet about the introversion extroversion spectrum, which is amazing. And in the future, we will definitely pull a bunch of different passages from that book. But this book landed in my lap kind of unexpectedly last year. I ended up using it as extra material for season 1 of the School of Moxie podcast, which you can listen to here on this channel as well, or on your favorite podcast app. I'm a really big believer that when you get outside of your business bubble and you stop talking only about who you serve and what you offer, and you connect with the zeitgeist of the world, you will build better connections, faster trust. You'll actually be participating in the world and you're going to notice a really big difference in the way your business grows. So in season 1, we were watching the television show The Last of Us on HBO and talking about the business lessons that come through that are all rooted in we can finish hard things. We can get through hard things and we can finish hard things. And then this book magically landed in my lap. It's a very long story. I'll spare it for you on this video. And lo and behold, I discovered that this wonderful author, Susan Cain, was able to articulate and put into words certain things that I was feeling, that my coachees had been feeling for a very long time. And one of the big things when I'm helping people systematize the content that they create in their businesses is the ability to take things from the pre-verbal state into a state where you can language it, you can articulate it, you can talk about it. Because if you can communicate it, as humans, we use language to communicate. If you can communicate that in some form, then other people can connect with you on what it is that you're thinking and feeling. So the really big theme that I would encourage you to focus on in Bittersweet for this passage that I'm going to share with you, and if you decide to get the whole book and dive into it more deeply, then you can look at it through this lens and see how it helps you process what's been going on in your business. And the idea is that darkness and sadness and things that are not bright, shiny, happy, that they are not necessarily things to be afraid of, that they're actually the ways in which we connect with each other on a more deep level. We have all been through a lot in the last 4 or 5 years. And I really feel that this book gives us words to process all the changes that have been going on inside of our businesses. I do not know one business owner right now who hasn't been having to make adjustments with their offers, with their audiences, sometimes entirely changing their business altogether. I've seen people leave entrepreneurship and go back into the corporate world. I've seen the opposite happen where they're coming back out of corporate into entrepreneurship. I've seen people go from offering services to selling physical products and the other way around. There's been a lot of change, and change brings up a lot of feelings, y'all. So I'm going to read you this passage and we're going to talk about it a little bit more. If you have this book, this is going to start on page 72 and it's going to bridge over onto page 73. So you can follow along if you would like. Here's what she writes. This is also why transitions from one season to another equinoxes and solstices have traditionally been marked as religious ceremonies, from Passover and Easter at the spring equinox to the pagan Yule festival and Christmas at the winter solstice, to the Chinese Moon Festival and Japanese Buddhist Heigan celebration at the fall equinox. In Judaism, even transition from day into night is sacred, with the holy days starting at sundown and moving into dawn, as if to say that the onset of darkness is not the tragedy we imagine, but rather the prelude to light. In the modern West, we tend to think that narratives proceed in a straight and finite line, that beginnings give way to endings, and endings are a cause for sorrow. How do you tell your life story? It starts with birth, it ends with death. It starts with happy, it ends with sad. You sing Happy Birthday in C major. You compose a funeral march in C sharp minor. But those bittersweet traditions, along with Yaden's recent discoveries, suggest a different cast of mind in which we expect our lives to thrust us through one transformation after another. Sometimes these transitions will be joyous, say the birth of a child. Sometimes bittersweet, walking that child down the aisle. Sometimes they'll arrive as full-on cataclysms that tear your life apart. Fill in your worst fear here. Endings will give way to beginnings just as much as beginnings give way to endings. Your ancestors' life ended and yours could begin. Yours will come to an end and your child's story will take center stage. Even within the course of your life, pieces of you will constantly die off. A job will be lost. A relationship will end. And if you're ready, other occupations, loves, will arise in their place. What follows may or may not be better than what came first, but the task is not only to let the past go, but also to transform the pain of impermanence into creativity and transcendence. What I love about this passage is that it really brings in both the sensible and the woo. So you live your life, you have this very practical existence, but there's this mystical aspect to what you go through. I love that she talks about the traditions that we carry in our lives, the natural seasons that we honor, the holidays that we honor, whatever your belief system may be. And that as a business owner, you can call upon these anchor points to help you navigate seasons of change. You can call upon whether it's your religious traditions or if you're witchy woo like me and my people, you can call upon your rituals to help get you into a state of transition and grounding and being able to process what you have been experiencing. I see so many people approaching the changes that are happening in business right now. And probably that always happens. But I've been watching them process it in this very linear fashion. The ones who have been doing spectacularly well in making really graceful pivots and changes have not been approaching this in a linear fashion. They're not saying, well, I was this and now I will move forward into that. They're actually saying, okay, if I scramble up everything and I look at what I could possibly do with this big soupy mess, what can I do? And not all of it is going to be comfortable, but the magic is found in the really uncomfortable places, which might mean that you have to do some other digging outside of business strategy in order to fix whatever problems you're trying to solve. There's a lot of people around here who know I've been a big supporter of taking yourself back to therapy. I am a big supporter of things like somatic therapy. Talk therapy is great too. But there's also therapy that comes in other forms, like re-engaging with your favorite hobbies, doing things outside of who you serve and what you offer, re-engaging with the world, whether that's picking up new novels, reading, and getting connected with your community is such a great way to get started with this. And if your nervous system can't handle that, maybe it's getting outside and going for hikes and not doing it necessarily alone all the time, but really engaging with other people and starting to realize that you are a multidimensional being and that these bittersweet moments can turn into the most magical, transformational ingredients in your kitchen that you are using to bake up this whole new thing that you're building. If you found me and you're still watching the video at this point, I think you are like me. You know it's time to do things differently. And there are things that we have done before that are going to give us great context and they're going to help us quite a lot. But also, it's time to find what makes you you. And you're probably going to find it in those less linear places and the more uncomfortable places, in those bittersweet moments and experiences. And you can ground yourself by pulling on these traditions of light and dark, these solstices and these equinoxes. And we have the summer solstice that is coming up next pretty quick here when this video comes out. Now is a great time to start thinking about, where can I shine most brightly? How can I do that? How can I take what has been difficult, could be more difficult, and turn it into medicine for my business and use it as a way to connect with other people? Not because you're swapping what my favorite spiritual teacher, Caroline Myss, would call woundology, not swapping your woundology, but actually letting people know that you actually really understand where they're coming from and that they can trust you and that you can be exactly the right service provider who will hold space in a new era in which everybody's just figuring everything out all over again. So that is the passage for this week. If you love this book, remember, go to your library, go check it out. It's been out for a while. There shouldn't be too many holds on it. It's a really beautiful book that will help you put a lot of words to a lot of feelings that you may have been experiencing. So if you've been going through a really hard time, you've been struggling with the pivots in your business, I really feel like this is the book for you. With that, I will see you next week. If you want to stay in touch with me, you can go to the video description below here and click on the link at the very top of the description. It is the link to subscribe to my email newsletter. Every Saturday, I send out a free tarot reading just for your business. And if you want to connect with your business in that way, you can hop in there and I will see you over in your email inbox. Be sensible, be woo, and always be you.